The Honourable Member for Mendi.
Speaker, I wish to ask this question without notice to the Minister for Higher Education, Research, Science and Technology. It's in regard to UOG. Minister, you are aware that the University of Goroka is the third largest of the 7 universities in Papua New Guinea and is by far the largest teacher education institution in our country. I'm happy that an institution which was primarily established for the purpose of teacher training has over time developed into a university. What saddens me and therefore prompts me to ask this question without notice is that the end product is measured by quality of performance by students in our high schools, secondary schools, in our junior high schools in our country. Thus, my question is the University of Goroka producing the same quality of trained teachers for the future of our children? Or in the name of continuous upgrade and review conducted over time, we have gradually departed from the main focus of training quality teachers? Secondly, Mr. Speaker, can the Minister confirm or deny that the University of Goroka has deviated from the main teacher training and therefore compromised on the quality of teacher output? And if so, can the Minister put in place a review with the view to assess whether proper teacher training is conducted and the beneficiary, the students, performs well in our schools? Thank you, Mr. Deputy Speaker.
The Honourable Minister.
These questions are critical and also very strategic insofar as not just the University of Goroka, but it is universal to all our universities, our technical institutions, and the colleges, whether it be a teaching college or a nursing or any other. The question is a question that can be seen in respect to all of those institutions in the country, but in particular UOG. I'll respond to that. The questions probably refer to 3 areas: the quality, the relevance of students coming out of the lower echelon of school system up to the higher education institutions, and what is the government doing in particular with UOG as to if UOG has diversified the programs away from teaching. Mr. Assistant Speaker, in terms of quality, I have not done a specific study to assess the quality, but generally I have assessed the output and the performance, looked at the programs of the universities, and UOG has been no exception. I will look at it, and I'm looking at some of the programs of the University of Goroka at a very present time as I answer these questions to the Honourable Member for Mendi. Mr. Assistant Speaker, the quality in this country from my general observations, from the report I get, is that we have probably can say allowed our quality of education, especially the higher education, skill development, academic knowledge to drop to a level that we now realize we must improve. Quality is very important, and it starts in the following areas. First, Mr. Assistant Speaker, is the governance and leadership on the campus of the University of Goroka, but for other institutions. I have to some extent realized that the composition of governance at the vice chancellors or at the, especially at the council level, and then to the management at the Vice Chancellor down to the other structured management systems, I think there's been a lot of compromise where I find the best people have not been appointed to leadership and governance to play those roles at those institutions. UOG is being addressed in that perspective. I have confidence in the Council, confidence in the Vice Chancellor and the team working there, but we'll work together with them to address the leadership and governance issues to address the areas of quality, and that's being addressed. I've decided that under the Higher Education's General Provisions Act, when it places the authority of appointment on the minister, Mr. Assistant Speaker, I'd like to inform through you, the Parliament and the people, that I will change that in the Act to not to put the authority of appointing the Council and administration on the minister, but will be done by a collective body. And the collective body I am looking at is the Higher Education Technical Council to make the decision and recommend to the Cabinet. So we will free up politicization of those positions at the Council level, or even through the Council on the administration level, at the Vice's level, we'll put at the collective decision-making body, and that will work with the National Executive Council to observe those, and that's where quality will start. When you put leadership and governance, the right composition, then you'll find there will be the right people to drive quality down the echelon of the whole institution, especially programs. That's number one. Number two, how we are addressing quality in terms of registering every university in Papua New Guinea or other institutions that come under the higher education institution space must meet a national registration standard so that they meet all the requirements to be called a university or a higher education institution. That is being looked at, and I'm doing it to making sure that UOG and other universities, they must qualify to be universities because they meet that standard of registration. That means every lecturer who teaches must be qualified to an accreditation. That means those professors must earn the name professor because they're doing research and work. Those that are in the dean in those particular activities or areas or the schools or faculties, they also must earn by the standards that we will implement. So registration is very important because when those people who are qualified to that level and they impart the knowledge to teachers to go and train students or teach students at the schools, then you'll find the quality that the member is referring to will be achieved because you have quality registered institutions. The third is the accreditation of the programs being taught there. University of Goroka is teaching programs, and MP is correct, not only in education and teacher training, but also in other diversified areas. And the programs that are being taught there must be accredited to a standard, not just to their standard, to the university standard, that they think it is a standard, but to the national qualification standard. And that national qualification standard is coordinated and driven by the Department of Higher Education, Research and Science and Technology, but that standard is benchmarked against some of the best practices in the world. So you have University of Goroka correlating and working in partnership with a network of institutions and affiliated accreditation standards in the world. So we have the best programs that are designed to teach our staff or the teachers who will teach the students on the ground. So accreditation of programs is very important. That's how we're addressing it. The other area that I'd like to also mention is research in those institutions. UOG must do research. There cannot be a university without doing research. We're driving that. And the final area in terms of quality is the digitalization of some programs, online learning or virtual learning. We would like to expand the number of students that pass out of the University of Goroka with quality education or quality teaching skills. So what do? There's some programs that can be put online so that if they cannot enter the UOG because the space is challenging, there's not enough space to have students accommodated or classrooms not enough to lecture, or there's not enough space there, then you have the people learning from outside of the campus. So those are the areas we're addressing in terms of the quality programs that must be taught, Mr. Assistant Speaker. And we have started a review. External auditors also on standby at the direction of the education sector or the department to go in and do the independent review of the programs on the University of Goroka. The other question is to have they deviated from teaching to other areas? Well, let me inform through you, Assistant Speaker, that my view is a university is a university. University is a university means they have a broader area of programs or a spectrum of programs they can administer. If they've deviated from teaching, I don't see that as a problem. But under the current circumstances, I'm informed that every year we need 800 students, 800 teachers to teach students. 800 teachers must come out of our universities or colleges to teach students. UOG only can graduate up to 600, sometimes 400 in a year. And I think TVWAN Wood's open campus in Eastern Britain is doing some 100 to 200 there, trying to meet the 800 mark, but still we fall short of teachers. So the point that the honourable members raised, Mr. Assistant Speaker, is a very valid point, that why should we try to diversify if we are not meeting the target of 800 teachers to come out of UOG in a year? And that has been a question that I've raised with the Vice Chancellor's Committee. I've established a Vice Chancellor's Committee that chairs UNITEC to address the issue, to also assist UOG, so that in that way we can look at how do we rationalize the programs. What programs are they teaching that is not very relevant, but is taught in other universities, like environment is taught at UOG, humanities is taught at UOG, and also political science. Then I'm talking to you, UPNG. Well, if those programs are taught at UPNG, why can't we concentrate on at UPNG and not at UOG? UOG goes into expanding more on the teaching or training of teachers. So these programs that are put in place so that all the universities are cohesive, they're working together. The same with the technical institutions and colleges. So we see everyone is working together to complement or supplement one another to achieve the quality programs that I'm talking about, Mr. Assistant Speaker. So we are addressing those issues vehemently, and we are very keen to see improvement in the next 3 years to 5 years in this time of Parliament. I have strong conviction that we will have improved the quality, also increase the staff and teachers that will go out to the teachers and to the college, to the schools to teach them, and we'll find relevance in the programs that we are administering through those institutions. And finally, as we were sitting on, Mr. Assistant Speaker, I was asked a similar question about the Polytech by the member for Guminity other day. After the question time, I would seek Parliament to answer that question as well. Thank you.